Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Afternoon, Doc.
How you doing, Chief?
Doing all right. You gave me a good laugh earlier.
I did.
I went to go make sure that the last couple weeks' class videos, the recordings were cleared up so that it wouldn't impede the recording today. And I noticed that there were 2 recordings for yesterday, and I was like, "What are these? Who tuned in yesterday?" So I check it out, and it's you waiting for class, and I go, "Oh, I bet he saw yesterday." So I go to the next video, and I wait for you to get the notice. I was like, I wonder how he's gonna figure it out. And you call Rita.
I called Rita right. I called Rita. I said, Rita, what are you doing? Is class canceled? She said, no, today's Saturday. I said, oh my goodness.
She said, thanks for getting my head back together. Oh, yeah, I was laughing.
That's what happens when you don't have nothing to do, Jonathan.
Hey, I do it too, Doc. I'll tune into the Zoom for Pasadena, and I'll be like, "What's going on? They're not having class today?" I'm like, "No, bro, there ain't no class today." He'll go like, "Bro, today," and I'll be like, "Oh my goodness, I was still sitting here figuring." Yep. When you living outside of time, Doc, that's what happens.
Yeah, I agree. How you doing, Sherry?
Hi.
Brother
How's
Cookie?
everyone today?
Hey, how y'all doing?
I'm fine.
I'm not complaining.
There you go.
That's a good start.
Look, I'm glad to be here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, I had something I wanted to bring up, Shelly.
Yeah, go ahead.
First time I heard this, and funny enough, when Vicky got on the floor the other day, she brought up how it was the first time she heard it too.
Uh-huh.
I guess they gave a bit of a different account, or what preceded a different account of the 3 treks when they were going over it. It was asked today. One of the things that was hitting me where I was like, I don't understand how that. I mean, I could see how it could be worked in, because everything can be worked in. That's something I came to learn. Go listen to other people running things up the charts and whatnot, and it looking great and grand, and Yahweh making you understand. Ain't nothing, even a lie, gonna escape my pattern. One of the things was that each of the treks of Moses' 3 treks, all 3 of them were 40 days apiece. And that was the first time I ever heard that. And the way it was kind of trying to be proved was 120 years of Noah preaching and whatnot. But the first thing that hit me was like, didn't they gain 40 years in the wilderness for not listening over the course of the 40 days they were in the wilderness? So how could he go on 2 treks, because it was after the golden calf that 3rd trek occurred. So if he's got 2 treks of 40 days apiece in 80 days, then they'd be in the wilderness a whole lot longer than 40 days to make that up. But it was just...
Well, they were in there for 40 years, and they ended up getting 40 years because they came back to Moses with that lie about the giants in the land, and then because they were fearful, they didn't believe.
Mm-hmm.
They came back with a lie. So because of that lie, they got 40 years. Now,
the 40 years is for the 40 days that they had dreamt.
They were only supposed to be there for 40 days, but they got a year for a day because of the lie.
Exactly.
And, I would say this. I don't recall Dr. Glenn Kinley ever talking about that each track was 40 days.
Just a little bit.
I don't recall that.
I'm asking a lot. Will you get over here and sit down?
How I understood it was that the trek when he received the first chapter of Genesis was 7 days, and he came back down off the mount after those 7 days. 7-day Yahweh Elohim rested. And that third trek was another 33 days, which makes up the rest of Genesis. And that 7 and 33 testifying to the life of Messiah through the righteous generations up to him.
Well, look, my understanding of that, I mean, like I said, I was never really a type and shadow teacher. But what was most important to me, hearing that when he was there, those 40 days and 40 nights, it was only the 7 days where he saw the creation, but during the rest of that time was when he received instructions as to how to build the tabernacle, how to form those vessels, so that he could go back. When he went back, he was able to instruct them how to build and construct those vessels in a way that it would be acceptable unto Yahweh, and that was in what that time that you would have called the night, right? And Moses, when he went back, as he taught them about those vessels, as Yahweh had instructed him, he drew in the ground, you know. He did with them just like Dr. Glenn Kinley did with us in teaching, in a way to where he, the vision of how to do what they needed to do was projected on their cosmic screen of their consciousness as they understood it, just like when we understand the vision. It's the same thing that happened with them. Now, that's my bulk of understanding concerning that trip. You know, not to say that nothing else is important. You know, it's always nice to learn and be able to see and understand something else. But it was the 7 days, to me, was Yahweh transforming into the creation. And then the other days left over was when he gave him instructions, you know.
Okay, so then on the third trip, that would be another 40 days for the rest of Genesis.
Well, see, on that third trip, too, is when he understood about that golden calf being built down there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually not in the trip, but in the coming down, because you can't, there was nothing satanic in that state, so he couldn't have witnessed it there, but when he come down from that state, then he understood why, you know, they did what they did.
Yeah, David Lyles in Ohio taught that way. Terry Welch in Lansing, Michigan, basically said the same thing. I can't remember in Las Vegas whether they went over Moses 3 separate trips and that the 7 days is where, but I'm sure, I just probably don't remember, that Yahweh Elohim was showing him himself the other 33 days that he was learning what Yahweh wanted him to do.
Right.
You're absolutely correct, Shelley, because I just got through looking at a tape. I think it was a 96 tape. It might have been. It was somewhere around May, June, something like that. But anyway, he said, he made it clear. He said that you cannot come to an understanding in a negative state. He says when Yahweh appeared to Moses and everyone else, he didn't have to waste time giving him dimensions on how to build an ark and how to build a tabernacle, anything else. He said because the Holy Spirit was the one that was doing the teaching, doing the talking. So he found the Holy Spirit in you, like in him. You didn't need it. You already saw it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was surprised. I mean, we keep saying that Yahweh have to explain things to you, but But again, which makes me understand Dr. Kinley, all praise and honor unto his ability to hold fast what was given to him, but by Yahweh being in him, it wasn't difficult. He just had to do what he was supposed to do. But he understood very clearly what he had to bring to us. And when Yahweh speak, when he deals with you directly, he don't have to give you types and shadows to have you understand or your physical dimensions, because that Holy Spirit encompass righteousness, understanding, love, and all the stuff all in one, and it comes to you exactly.
Right. But okay. I'm not oversighting what you said, Jonathan, but you want to say what was, go into it, that way I can hear clearly, because
no, it's just the account of 7 days one trip, 33 days another trip. Like from what I had understood was like on the 7th day, that was pretty much when the tabernacle was explained, where you read was Exodus 25 onwards to like 31, all the instructions of the tabernacle, and that's how I have always heard it, was 7 days, come down, go up another 33 days. And the types and shadows that were always given.
Okay, but
no, I'm not standing firm on that.
Okay, but I'm saying he was gone from them for 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah, that would be, you'd find that by adding the 7 days on one trip and the 33 days on another trip would make a 40 days.
Okay, but now. See, I'm saying, well, look, I mean, help, Yahweh will show me if I'm not understanding. But for 40 days, that's like a little over a month. I'm thinking he was gone from them, which is why they lost, or because you can't lose faith, but because they were disobedient and went down the mountain. They didn't stay there. Now, I mean, if he just gone 7 days, I mean, that ain't enough to cause you to say, oh, he ain't coming back. But if you gone for 40 days, I don't see you, just, you might start to think something. But what did Yahweh say? He says, tarry here, stay here till I return. They was not supposed to go back down there where the people were. Them 70 elders was supposed to stay there for the whole duration until he came back. Right? I mean, I don't know. Somebody show me, help me if I'm not seeing it right, because hey.
No, that's
right. Good
and well. With like I said, it's the first time I had come across that it was a 40 and 40. That's I don't even understand how
I mean, because if it was 340s, I mean, that ain't something that any of us would have ever forgotten, right, Bernard? I mean, if that was something he taught like that, like he would say the 40 days and 40 nights, I wouldn't have never. I wouldn't have never forgotten that.
And I can see the 40 and 40, because when he was 80 years old, that's when he was sent there. So it was like 80 years old for Moses was like, well, it's not just for Moses, because that 8 represents a new beginning.
Well, you know what? And when you talk about that 80, now Yahweh showed me this. Nobody told me, but when him taking, how he would say, right where Adam exhaled was right where he inhaled with the founder. And right where the founder exhaled was right where Yahweh inhaled with Moses. And that is, Yahweh showed me that. Now that I mean, hey, I hold to that. because the founder was 80 years old, leaving out, and Moses was, and those was the two witnesses, and they coincided with each other.
Glenn had that.
That's why I do the 40 and 40, because when he comes out with the second trip, that's where he understands the transgression with the golden calf and why he asked for mercy for them at that point. That shows that renewal. So that 80 I can see and fit. The way to be fair, there was another side comment.
I mean, if you show me, I'm not somebody that'll buck. I'm all for the truth.
Exactly.
You know, I'm all for the truth. Exactly. I just and see another. I don't know. What I teach is what I've always taught. If you go back to get any lectures from Earlham or and Rosemead, because I wasn't ever called on to teach that much, and you get any from Florida, I have always taught the very same thing. So but when other people, I remember what you taught when the old man was around, you know, and so I don't know, I just kind of look to that, and if Yahweh show you something, I'm the same one, so it's not a matter of me trying to figure it out. I can see it.
Exactly.
You know?
And like I say, you could even ask Dixie. Dixie got on the floor, and she had brought up how that was the first time she had ever heard it taught that way. And how he said, well, to be fair, I was here in Florida for early times in Florida, so I don't know what might have been said. And he goes, everything I know about the three tracks comes from the Elohim book. And the way the founder wrote about it.
I mean, I know he went there 3 tracks, but that what I'm looking at is that the time he went when they built that golden calf, he was gone so long until they didn't think he was coming back, and I know that couldn't have just been 7 days.
Well, and here's one that's interesting. So it's funny because I had always considered Moses the burning bush. But before he goes up with the elders and they see Elohim, he goes up the mountain and is told to have the children of Israel prepare for 3 days. Isn't that right?
Okay, yeah. When they come up out of Egypt, they had to wash up and prepare for those 3 days, because see, originally, had they been obedient, April 22nd, which is Dr. Glenn Kinley's birthday, they'd have been crossing on over. But because of that, you know, all of what they did, and had to melt the thing down and drink it, and, you know, just drama. Because when they come up out of Egypt, if they'd have been obedient, you know, and just only been 40 days from the time they left up out of there would have been when? You know, we say April 15th was the beginning of a new year. But it's just 40 days from the time they, when they're leaving up out of Egypt, that track, anyway, like 7 days or whatever, they'd have did what they had to do. Actually, what we call April 22nd would have been them crossing over. But anyway, I don't know. Like I said, 40 days I would say was a long time while he's up there in that mountain and receiving instructions. I mean, having the vision and receiving the instructions. You know.
I mean, that's yeah. It's funny because it was like it ran through the mind just now of it taking them 40 days to buck up, and then it came to my mind. Shoot, they got to the water and they started bucking up. Like, let us go back. They got across the water, they was bucking up. They got food, they was bucking up. It was like 2 days of not seeing Moses, I could see them bucking up like that. Aaron, give us a God.
Yeah. Well.
But then I heard also, and this is one that was hard to express because this is again the first time I heard this, that simultaneously as each day was being done, each vessel of the tabernacle was being shown, to where it wasn't he was shown each day of the creation and then later the explanation of the tabernacle. It was that each part of the tabernacle that corresponded to the day was shown in the evening time of that day. Like the morning part was what you read about in the first day, second day, the morning part, and then the evening part was of the tabernacle.
Mhm. Well, and I do know, because when people were teaching, they were trying to put 9 vessels in there, and that's not true. It's only 7 vessels in the tabernacle, one for each day. But I mean, if they're gonna play it, if you're gonna teach it that way, then come on out with the beginning. Simultaneously, it didn't take 40 days and 40 nights for Yahweh to show them nothing. I mean, you know that by the founder. He 9 o'clock in the morning, he's had the vision, then he passes out. I mean, all of that was given in a day, within a 24-hour cycle. So, yeah, I know. I mean, in breaking it down and showing, like we say, painting the chart, we break it down to show 7 days creation. Well, we know it wasn't 7 days. Yahweh willed it, and thus it is. I mean, but for a man to be able to understand and be able to comprehend, okay, we paint a chart, and you break it down into 7 days of creation. And then you got to show, too, the cosmogony and the eschatology, those elements, and the substance for it is before that comes in to be able for you to have substance to produce land, water, air, all of that, all those elements coming together and him transforming, all of that. So that's how you get your 9, But and then like we say, the instructions for each vessel or whatever, yeah, that was done in the evening, but we still know that he was up there for that time. And that wasn't the only thing that Yahweh showed him while he was up there. You know that by the book of Asher. We got that part, but like I said, Moses wrote the book of Asher, which was placed in the Ark of the Covenant. So there was more that Yahweh said and shown, and during that time there.
And see, there was a side comment, like as Ben was teaching. There was a side thing he had said where it was pretty much like Exodus, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. They weren't called that. They were all one book called the Book of Asher, and that's the Book of Asher is, from what he was saying. And that's the first time I heard that too.
No. No. We knew about the that he was given a credit. This is what was taught. Moses was giving a credit for having written the first 5 books of the Bible, but he dictated to the scribes. So they actually wrote it down, what he said happened in those first 5 books. But the book he wrote was the book of Asher, which was placed in the Ark of the Covenant, and that was not them 5 books.
That's what I thought.
That's what I had. No, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Your imagination is running away, and who you listening to?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not about changing nothing. Now, whatever Yahweh gonna show you, I mean, they're the ones a stickler for what Dad said go get me the tape where he said that. Let me hear that.
Mhm.
You know, where the first five books was the book of Asher. No, he never taught that. And then, okay, what you gonna do with the last 5 books that John wrote?
No, well, what you do with the tape of the founder, where he directly talks about the book of Yasher compared to the book of Abraham and all these other books, and he says that the book of Yasher, when it came across his desk, and he looked in it and read it, he said, "This is my writing." And he
even tells you the books that was left out.
Because well, not just the comment where he says it's the greatest commentary, and he has people pass around this specific book in the class so people can lay their hands on it and look at it and see it for themselves. To me, the biggest part of what he said was when he made the comment, he looked in it and read it and said, "This is my writing."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
he didn't say that about no book of Abraham or nothing
talking
like that.
Then, right?
Yeah.
So, but see. Messing around with them book knowledge people. This vision was founded on the divine vision of revelation. The best result is to rely on the boss in you. You go and messing around in your imagination with something, you about to get in trouble.
Mhm.
Because the thing is you. Like Dr. Glenn Kinley said, I taught you in a way you can't even deceive yourself. Now you know when you're lying and telling the truth.
Mhm.
And when you don't know something. Now you gonna come up here talking like that, and you won't admit or take up the responsibility for having had a divine vision and revelation?
Yeah, that's like I said, that's like a self-grave right there.
And then rumor had it out that during that 96 assembly, you standing there in front of the mirror at 9 o'clock in the morning waiting on Elohim to show up. Really?
Mm.
I'm to this day, I'm embarrassed for you.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Yeah.
Having sat under the boss, and that's how you thinking.
Yep.
I mean, that's how you're thinking. And the old man said, whatever you're entertaining, now that's where you're gonna be. That's where you'll be stuck, fall up, or what was the expression? Is the same one the founder used when he told them. I'm about to ask Renard, but that was where you were gonna be stuck,
right,
or
right.
placed, or I'm not using that. I don't think I'm using the accurate word. You know, I don't like putting in other words, but that was the meaning.
Yes, you're right.
Sealed. That's the word.
Sealed
that is where you would. That's where you would be sealed.
Sealed in their disbelief.
What did you say? I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
I said seal and place the same thing because they wasn't going into place.
Oh, okay. No, no, I'm a stickler. I want to say the word he said, so nobody get confused or be coming back to me saying you put in a word that, you know, where you couldn't receive the divine understanding of it. But the word was sealed because he was there to unloose the seals, the 7 Sabbath seals, and place the doctrine taught correctly as it was taught in the beginning to all of them. And so sealed was the expression he did, because when he went there, that's what he did. He loosed the seal. Now if you whatever you were entertaining, that's where you sealed.
Correct. He said if he can didn't accept or didn't care, and you place where you were supposed to be, that's an unrighteousness.
Mhm. But so Jonathan, I'm to understand it was Ben Trotter that was teaching those things.
Yeah. And then I don't believe it was just him. Like I said, there was a conversation that also went with this that was in a group chat that was being referenced to, and it was being talked about, but it was pertaining to a question that had been brought up and that they were going over on the floor for a couple of days, and that was the 3 treks of Moses. Someone asked for somebody to explain the 3 treks of Moses.
Oh. No.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest they explain those things by way of divine vision and revelation.
Yep.
Because when it's Yahweh speaking, there's no room for a misinterpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Or confusion. He would say, I am not the author of confusion.
That's a fact.
Now that's what he would say.
I'm not the author of confusion, and I change not.
Right. I am Yahweh, and I change not.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when they were confused about Eve, and when they was confused about the 3 days and the 3 nights, you confused. He didn't teach you that. And we were told, wait with patience. If you say something that you don't understand, leave it exactly like Yahweh gave it to you, and He will reveal in His appointed time for you. You're also quiet. Is it Gary here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening.
I'm muted because I'm trying to stop the feedback, but apparently it's coming from something else.
I'm getting feedback. Audio.
Yeah, echo.
You know, you guys have been under I don't know if you remember that but I wasn't. But I think echo. I just spent a lot of time trying to, I guess, reload myself with the truth and the things that were error, to let them go. You know, definitely was taught that Moses stayed up the mount for 40 days, and the first 7 days, Yahweh had showed Moses that he created creation in 6 days. But you see in Psalms, it said Yahweh spoke it and it stood fast, so it was immediate. You know, you have scientists trying to search for Big Bang. That was the bang. If I just have to use that in a colloquial sense. But other than that, I agree with Shelley, also reiterating the same thing. I was never taught that Moses stayed up 7 days and then came back down. There'd have been no need for the golden calf, because that was a short wait. But as there's some, he ain't coming back. Aaron, you the chief now. Again, get that golden calf and fix it up so we have somebody else to worship. So that was clear to me. I know people use correlations for 40 days. 3 times 40 is 120. I think even Moses or Joshua had died at 120 years, and then using the principle of 40 throughout the plate, to correlate the principle 40 to other place. But I'm getting it all now. That's more clear to me. So I'm not going to repeat something that I'm in error. Not that I can't stand chastising, but chastise me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm doing I'm being a sponge right now. Like I said, I'm the baby, so I'm being a sponge. I'm surprised that, all the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
All the wealth of that I already know that we are in the physical body, but all the wealth that I see Yahweh revealing, through the vessel, through you guys. And I don't want to be. I want to say it like this. Johnson has a lot of knowledge that I wasn't supposed to. But Renard, you, Shelley, and Rita has also a lot of knowledge. And Johnson, being younger than he is, not to be biased, but I hear a lot of wisdom, mostly coming from E3, that there's no way I could repeat it because I wasn't there in certain instances. And I actually didn't know Glenn Kinley at all. I had all the tapes of Dr. Kinley until I didn't have him because of somebody's carelessness, but I ain't going into that. But I've read a lot of the manuals, a lot of the Elohim books, cover to cover. So, and then I understand that some of the things in the Elohim book, Dr. Harris was wrong. So, but I always knew that Dr. Kinley basically knew who Dr. Harris already was. He created him. So I'm just listening, gathering intel, we say in the military, and being, I know, how can I say this? Yahweh and you know when stuff is right or when it's wrong.
Right.
You ain't have to justify Yahweh, let you know that's not working. Oh, yeah, that's me. I did that. So I'm just listening. I'm very much attuned to what everybody's saying, and I'm grateful. But right now, it's just 5 of us on here. Maybe Yahweh will more up here, but right now, I'm happy where I'm at. So please, when I show up every Sunday.
And talking about that 40, I mean, we look at when you're talking about creation and the vision, I mean, that's the same thing that happens when when that child's taking on shape and form.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the child taking on shape and form, that substance coming together, and then the cells starting to multiply. I mean, and the body is forming itself from the inside out.
Yeah.
You got your heart, all those vessels are being formed, and then the flesh and the other stuff forms around it. That's how Yahweh builds. From the top to the bottom and from the inside out. I mean, why is that? Because he is the fully resurrected tabernacle within.
Exactly.
So, and even with hearing this, it causes me no distress at all. I'm not upset about nothing because I know what Yahweh taught me.
Right.
And I'm not wavered about any of that confusion because right now, that ain't going to get you to heaven.
Exactly.
That is it's only going to affect your eternal life, you fooling with that.
Exactly.
I don't have time to fool with that. And as far as if the creation is over, types of shadows is over. Why is you fooling with that?
Right.
You better try to recognize the glory that Yahweh, when we say he held this thing in store so you could see what would have been had it continued on, but it's gone. It's gone.
Hallelujah. Yep.
I mean, you now, as they say, you had a part in the movie, and now you're sitting down watching it play out. That's your role now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stop messing with something, interjecting something to cause you to lose what Yahweh labored for. You didn't labor for your eternal life. He did that.
Right. You guys were around when Dr. Tilly was alive?
I was.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm sure Renard and them too was alive, but as far as probably in the class, no.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
we hope he was alive.
maybe Jonathan wasn't alive or born yet, put it that way.
Right.
Born yet.
Yeah, well, I'm
he was still waiting on his name to be called.
Right.
Right.
As they say, we waiting on the say present.
Right. Yeah.
Because we were all declared before we, that's why he can say the fight was over before it begun.
Yeah, our names were already in the book of life.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In this state, in the vision state, that's what they keep missing. You looking for something physical in a vision state.
And you know what's funny too? When you look at it like that, you see it as, you can see that the founder was called so that it could open things up for you to be called in, you know?
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, it's difficult, you know, when you think about something so powerful being in your neighborhood, and you come to town in 1958, and you don't go until 78. That's 20 years that they were going on without you knowing anything about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's something because you brought that up, but I have such a joyful feeling because none of us are deceived by that.
Nope. And let me say this: the stuff. Let me tell you how this goes, so you get it straight. And this is what I've been honing in on and trying to understand exactly the things that I missed in class. You know, he said that, you know, Yahweh didn't have to talk to Moses and to the founder and take up a whole lot of days. Once you recognize that you are abiding in Him, you're taking on all of the understanding, because He's going to give you exactly what you got, and that's all the understanding.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And he said that, you know, even today, and don't other people may come and wrestle with us about words that's being said, but the thing is, once He explained it to you, you may not be able to give it to another person exactly how He gave it to you, but that don't have anything to do with your understanding.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's so true.
And I agree. I just happen to come in that age, though, where they used to drill in you. You better say it exactly like he said it, or use the exact words. So, I mean, I ain't invoking that on anybody. It's just what I have to be mindful for may not be what you have to be mindful for.
Exactly.
You know?
Indeed.
One of the things, Jerry, just for information purposes, Dr. Harris didn't have anything to do. Well, he had some things to do, but he wasn't a main focus of the person responsible of getting the book printed.
Right.
It was one of the other people in class that had the relationship with the printer. And a lot of things that went on, the printer asked him, what did they mean by this? And he gave his lack of knowledge answer to cause some of the stuff to not come out correctly.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
But my thing is, you know, since I've joined this phone conference, that to understand even some of the charts have been wrongly colored or wrongly drawn, you know, is the thunderbolt to me, because that's why I hardly say anything now, because I'm listening to what you guys talk about regarding the chart, what should have been in the chart, what shouldn't have been in, what should have been.
Did you get a chance to look at that video that was Jonathan posted on the thing this week of Dr. Glenn Kinley in 92?
I looked at one of Dr. Glenn Kinley tapes. It was the one for 2 or 3 of them back. I was looking at during the week.
One where he had on the burgundy suit because of that clarity, and that tape was so good.
Yeah, I'll listen to that after I get off. It's the last one.
No, it's the one labeled. It's the one labeled. Dr. Glenn Kinley goes into the mysteries or sometimes the Bermuda Triangle.
I got a lot of stuff from you, Jonathan. I don't erase none of it. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Number one, when it opened up, and the clarity of it was so good, and the fact that the suit, the very suit that he was wearing, was the suit, and that was how he looked when after he died. He showed up in class, and I saw him. That was the suit he was wearing, and he was rocking on his heels like back and forth, clapping his hands. You know how, like, oh, you like he was just checking everything out, and I mean, I was just so amazed. And then too, there was a guy in Atlanta class that had a vision of him wearing the same suit before he met him. And I thought, wow, but I was excited, and even listening to the tape, it caught my attention more so when he started talking about that lamb being sacrificed and how we missed the spiritual aspect of what was happening there, and we didn't see it until we got down there with Messiah. In other words, he was saying, and as he was preaching it, and I was looking at it, Yahweh Elohim in me was narrating at the same time, because Dad mentions that lamb being consumed, and that it was turned, and Elohim in me was saying ashes. And also, you don't want to forget the invisible gases, right? And then Dad goes and says the spirit. He didn't mention gas, but he said spirit, where that spirit went on back. That spirit that was in the lamb went on back into the spirit. Well, when Messiah is placed in the tomb, and that body's consumed, but what we see afterwards was the apparition and that spirit of Yahweh Elohim showing up on Pentecost, on the day of Pentecost. And I thought that was just awesome, to the point where if I ever preach going in that tabernacle pattern talking about that sacrifice, I will not make the mistake of not mentioning that.
Right.
That lamb being consumed is going to, it turns to ashes, and that and the invisible gases, that all of that's involved, and that spirit going on back into Yahweh, because that gas is just is like invisible, so you still have those two so-called physical, elements. We know gas, but still, gas is still invisible. It's like air. You don't see it, you feel it, it's there, and you're breathing it. So, but you gotta breathe in order to live or maintain in these bodies. And that's how you honor and worship and glorify Yahweh, because you're praising his name. That's prayer without ceasing,
Right.
And so, once you stop, you fulfill that. When you stop breathing, you fulfilled it. That's when when he gets out of that body and is no longer in it, it's fulfilled.
Right.
For whatever time that he declared. But and he went into a lot of, things like we knew the man didn't go to the moon, and he had talked to us before about that Bermuda Triangle, and he said that there are veils in the earth, and you hit one, and it ain't just them going up in the heavens. You got some veils that extend right on down here in this so-called earth plane, you know, that you cross, you'll be in trouble. You know, through. But yeah, I just thought that was awesome. You know, how he had mentioned that. Because a lot of people talk, you know, they may come up with those movies about the Bermuda Triangle or whatever, and like he said, it's like that veil in that tabernacle. If they went up in there going the wrong way, the high priest was the only one that knew the way in to the tabernacle, even though the people hung the veils in there, they still didn't know how he got into the most holy place.
That
was awesome.
Gotta go around the veil.
Right, and then he even went so far as to say, as thin as those veils were, you could not see through them, and that those angels that they embroidered on the veils, when that lampstand, that light flickered, that caused those embroidered angels to appear animated. I mean, like, he was so extensive, just awesome. I would just think those are things that I could never forget, you know. And like now this time of year, you pass down the street and everybody got Christmas lights out and flickering in this and flickering in that, because they got that from Yahweh, you know. I mean, and that high priest entered up in there, and that those veils had angels all around. Now, proving that Yahweh Elohim took on shape and form among so great a cloud of witnesses, you know?
Let me ask this. Did the high priest make a figure 9 or when he's flickering the blood towards the altar?
No.
Okay.
No. The only number is mentioned is the figure 8. When he went into the side of that veil and moved around and come back out the other side, he makes that figure 8 coming in and going out, you know, back into the holies, you know, from the holy place to the most holy place, holies of holies, as they would say. He would make the figure 8. But no, we not talking about no 9.
What you got mixed up, Gary, is that Moses' staff had a curl at the top.
Right.
Like a 9. Well, if you were a high priest and Yahweh had killed you inside the most holy place, they would have to fish you out with that staff to pull you out of there, because they wasn't allowed to go in there. Mm-hmm. So they stayed around until they feel your body and pull you out from underneath the curtain.
Okay.
Right. And the same is with what was it? Cain. What was it? Cain. Abel. He when he took Cain, when he took that staff and of Abel's and you know, bear down, because see, Cain was a tiller of the soil, but Abel was a shepherd. He took that staff, and when it was upright, it was a 9, and when he went down, struck him down, it was a 6, and he struck him 3 times, and that's how he ended up with the mark of what they call the mark of the beast, or the 666.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But, and yeah, that's why, and it worked. You know, a shepherd. That's why they say it was. They say it was Aaron, but Aaron was not a shepherd. Moses was the shepherd. But we say Aaron's rod, but that was Moses' rod. Moses was the shepherd down there in Ruel, you know, tending Ruel's sheep. And
so Cain was struck 3 times. Who struck Cain with the staff?
No, Abel was struck 3 times by Cain.
Why would Abel receive the mark on his forehead?
No, Abel didn't. Cain did. When he would bring it back, every time when he went down and when he would bring it back, he, you know, that he struck his brother 3 times, and that's how he ended up with that 6.
So Abel struck Cain 3 times.
No.
Cain was the offender.
Was a striker.
Yeah,
Was a striker.
Cain, and he struck Abel 3 times. And Abel, as Yahweh taught it, Abel could have got up and kicked his butt, but he asked Yahweh. He cried out and asked, could he, rather than do harm to his brother, he asked him, could he go?
Mm-hmm.
And Adam let him go.
Okay.
I want to throw this out there. I've never heard anybody teach about any other high priest Yahweh killed in the most holy place. Never heard it. Anybody heard that before?
Say again? You broke up.
Of another high priest other than Aaron did. Moses' brothers, Moses' 2 nephews were killed by Yahweh.
Because that lineage of priesthood was obsolete, right?
Was it obsolete?
They don't talk about that tribe.
Oh, okay.
After that Aaron tribe, it's always the tribe of Levi was where the high priest comes.
They didn't get any inheritance, did they?
No, the high priest did not have inheritance.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be that lineage too of David.
Okay.
And they had Messiah, that seed would be coming down through that virgin from that lineage.
In the Hebrew church, the one that's responsible, that you would call the one that would officiate in the Hebrew church, was he part of the same lineage, or they don't hold fast to that anymore? Jonathan. Are you there? I guess he's. Jonathan, are you there? But anyway, I don't know that much about
I'm here, Renard. I'm so sorry. I'm here.
I was asking a question because we talked about something, and it came to my mind that they at a Jewish synagogue. I was asking the person that officiated in the synagogue, was he part of the lineage of those that were high priests?
No.
No, they're a point. No.
Yeah.
They have over the last 2 decades claimed to, through genealogy tests and all this, secured some young boys of the blood of the tribe of Levi, and they've been raising them the last 2 decades out in the boonies out in Israel, on top of bedrock, so that they've never crossed a grave and all these things to qualify for being high priests, so that they have what they consider qualified high priests to appoint in the new temple when they establish it. Crazy. Hey, young boy has been raised in isolation to be high priests. Yeah.
Right now, they just arbitrarily choose one Hebrew from anybody that they choose. That's who they put in charge.
I think it's more like the way a priest is established today through the Roman Catholic Church, how he has to go through ministry school and all that. I believe the same thing to get your rabbinical license. You have to go through a whole thing as well.
Just asking, because I never thought about it anyway. But
they train them like they train the Catholic priest in a way. They give them, different. This is what I was told. Just like, and the same thing with my Mormon neighbors over here. He had to be ward priest for like so many days. They give him a trial, and then after that, they move someone else in. I'm not sure about all of that, but anyway.
Well, it's funny because it's kind of like that with every one of the major religions. They have their main councils. You can be like offshoot Baptists and stuff, right? But to be part of the main Baptist ministry in the country, you have to go to ministry school. And what's funny is, if you actually do that and you become part of the main council, most people don't know that these institutions have their own banks. And that's how a lot of these up-and-coming pastors are able to, like, start a new big church. They're able to get these loans out after ministry school through that specific denomination's personal bank for pastors. It's kind of crazy, but yeah.
I just know that my brother-in-law, after he had been there for 7 years, they give them that test that say on your 7th year, if you've done all of that, you can go out in the world and decide if this is a life that you want to lead. Do you want to stay as a priest, or do you want to go back into the world? And he did it for 7 years, and they were so atrocious to him and one of his friends, that after the priest had did her so bad, they raped her I don't know how many times. And then when they in New Orleans, down there across the street from where Jim lived, they tore down the not the monastery, but where the all the ladies lived, the nuns.
Nunnery.
Yeah. And what did you call it?
The nunnery.
Nuns.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they found so many babies that had been sealed in the wall. So all of this stuff about being celibate and all that kind of stuff is crap. Anyway, so then my husband told me that, because I sent the kids to Catholic school and they were going to go through what do you call it? They were going to go through and get baptized and all of that, and we did 2 years of them going to the school. And just before the week before they were going to be, accepted at the church, they told them they couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because they wouldn't baptize my children because I was a divorcee. So after you took my money and did all these classes with the kids and stuff, and then you decided.
Giving grace.
Yeah, and all that. I mean, I bought all their outfits and all that stuff for them to go in and to be whatever. Anyway, and so he told the kids then, when you grow up, you choose the religion of your choice. So that's all I know about it. And every priest that had been tossed out of all of this stuff over here for all these years, they would send them to areas like East LA or the areas like ours. But he didn't know we were the parents down there would not let these priests do anything to the kids. Every time you saw him, he was drunk, totally slack. He drank wine 24/7. So anyway, Shelley went to Catholic school too. So
Yeah.
I was Catholic for 10 years when I was younger.
yeah.
I was shocked the first time we had a fair and I saw the priest drinking beer. I was just too outdone because I thought they were so holier than thou.
Mm.
I saw him smoking, and I said, "You a priest?"
Yeah. So anyway, that was my deal with them. But I sent the kids to school for their education and the disciplining of them. You know what I mean? This is the way you went. And my boys went, and they were under the Jesuits. So, and one graduated, but the other two didn't make it out. My Donovan, they kicked him out and told him that. They were wasting. I was wasting my. He was wasting their time, and I was wasting my money. He never conformed to any damn thing they told him to do. So anyway, that was it. That was my Donovan. Anyhow, but that was it. I've been through almost every religious church that you could think of, and I just saw these men as men. They were not holier than anybody, and I can just about tell you that from all of them. So when we finally came into the Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research, it was totally different. They didn't put any, what you say, quote unquote, on it. He just said, come and learn of me. Learn how he did it. And also he said, and love the brethren. And that was what we did from A to Z.
And when you came in, he taught you, which is why I don't see how someone could make the mistake of thinking that they were so overcapacitated with glory that they could tell somebody else they weren't welcome to hear the gospel.
I couldn't understand that either.
I mean, he never, the man, even if he had said make a list, you should have known better.
Right.
You know, that should have been one of them times, you know, when my mom was good for when we were kids, and she'd say something, and she'd go, well, I guess I'm lying. And, I mean, you knew as a kid, you knew doggone well you wasn't going to respond to that, you know?
Nope.
Or even if you thought she was, you wasn't going to respond to it, you know? Mm-hmm. But except for, you know, Yahweh, they say Yahweh takes care of fools and whatever. I remember once my brother told my little brother, he was only about 3, he told her, well, I guess so. And me and my sister was thinking, man, wow, a baby, you know, but yeah, things that they wanted to blame Dr. Glenn Kinley for by what he taught you. You should have known better. I mean, and that proves that you didn't not only see him as Yahweh, but you didn't trust Yahweh in you.
That's so true. It kind of reminds you what they're doing right now. It reminds you the kids game, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you know, I choose you, I don't choose you, that kind of stuff. That's not what Yahweh said. That is not what he said at all. He said that everything in this boundary and everywhere is a what? One or another of Yahweh.
Yeah. But I mean, I knew as a kid, if I believed I was right, I would take that whooping.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, you could beat me down, but I was going to stand for the truth, you know. Yeah. And I mean, and I just dealt, you know, I would deal with it. I was not one of those that you just, and thanks be to Yahweh, because that's the position he has in this vessel. I just wasn't going, and if rather than lie to you, I just wouldn't say nothing. You know, and actually, I heard that was one of the traits of Dr. Glenn Kinley too. He would, rather than lie, he wouldn't tell you nothing. But then you know, you get to the point where you can tell when somebody cannot handle the truth. You know, sometimes you can execute with that mercy, and sometimes you can't. You just have to tell them. Because in the end, Yahweh's going to hold you responsible. And I don't mean like along down the line somewhere. You just, as the old people say, keep living. And you're going to find out you are not going to be able to tolerate that lying and, you know, to his face. So that.
Well, I've been listening to Glenn's tapes, and the 4 that I say everybody should listen to is one of the tapes is that he did at his father's, not the funeral, but at something after his death.
In Ohio, when he went back to Ohio.
In Ohio, and then listen at the 3 or 4 different tapes that they had when he took everybody back to Ohio on their General Assembly. And and he's talking to those that he taught at the very beginning, coming into class, and now they're deans and they're bucking up, 1 or 2, and you'll hear him just lay down a lot of things that you may take for granted, or it passed over your head. You heard the words, but it just passed over your head. But then at that time he was laying them down like if this was his last major group of sermons.
But all of a sudden everybody wants some kind of recognition, you know? It kind of reminds you of our current president that has to have his name on everything, and this is done on this over here. Well, what does it say? You stand up and you read. If you read the aims, it tells you. If you read whatever one in there, it tells you it goes right back to Yahweh. Either go back to Adam and all this. Why all of a sudden now you want to be so important that, you know?
There was some demon worship going around. I've been around long enough to see it, and the damage is done. So it wasn't so much about, in some cases, about preaching the gospel, and that was true. The way Dr. Kennedy gave it, it was just about their personality being worshipped, and some even had guards around them. So, I look at it as a man that what's dwelling in is the Yahweh. Because all he's going to be speaking is the truth. He's going to be talking to himself. Not a man sitting under being flashy and enjoying everybody's worship and praise all the time.
Right.
I call it IDMR Christianity.
Right. Well, that's the difference. A man of Yahweh don't want you worshiping and looking up to him.
Exactly.
He's looking for somebody to be one with.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't, I'm not trying to go nowhere to be seen for what I know. Right. Now, if you want to be equal to, and we can share the same thing, because when there's nobody else, who you have, you know?
Yep.
And it's better to have somebody that if you want to be vulnerable today, you know what they say, who do the strong lean on,
Right. Yep.
And if you make it, and if you got everybody looking to you, it's doggy dog at the top,
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't want nobody looking at me. I want us to be one.
Right.
Because I see each and every one of us as a treasure chest. I love to shop and I like jewelry. So I want what Yahweh gave you to give me.
Right.
And that's how I look at it.
Copy that.
It's like, no, when we run into one that, hey, I don't come empty-handed. I got something Yahweh gave me to give you. And I'm waiting on you to be comfortable and free to give me what Yahweh gave you for me. And that's how it is. It's not that. I mean, I look at Dad sometimes and I would say, he gave us all that Yahweh gave him to give us.
Right.
But all that Yahweh gave him wasn't all for us. And the same way with you. You have some treasures that he gave just for you.
Exactly.
And he gave you something to share.
Right.
I when I do like a reading and research and stuff, I ran across the lady H.B. Blavatsky, and she wrote in her writings. We used one of the aims come out of her book, right? And but when she was doing her writing and her research and all that, she had called the woman that was coming to visit. The lady she needed a book, and the lady had got the book and had dropped it in her suitcase way back when, and when she didn't even know that she was going to go visit her. And the day came where she had to leave town, and the book was in the suitcase. And when she gets there, she says, "Oh, you have something for me?" And the lady's all baffled and didn't know. And then when she goes back and look in the suitcase, the book was there that she had summoned. And I thought, that's how Yahweh worked, you know?
Right.
A lot of times, and you could tell when in the writings of different ones, him manifested, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And but yeah, she was so popular in her time. I've seen old movies where where she's mentioned, like it reminded me of the founder too. You know, he was in Uptown Saturday Night when that movie first came out, and he's a preacher sitting in the back, and he's the only one clapping off beat. Yeah, I was like, oh, I actually had the tape. It's buried down somewhere, but I had bought the tape, and every time I look at it, I'm just like, it just warms my heart, and I just go to laughing, and I'll freeze the tape just to watch him. You know,
right.
Everybody else is clapping one way, and he's the off clap like the, you know, in the church, and I just crack up. You know, but he's in that you remember what movie I'm talking about, you guys, right? The one with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Uptown.
Which
It was
one?
Uptown Saturday Night, and then
Oh,
they did Let's Do It Again. But it was the first one that the founder was in.
Right.
When they do the church scene, he's sitting in the back. He's not the one at the pulpit. He's sitting behind that pulpit.
Okay, so who's the writer that you were talking about?
I think it's Helen H.B. Blavatsky.
Blavatsky, okay, gotcha.
And she actually was affiliated way back in the day. We're talking like the 1800s, you know, with what they call the metaphysical school that was in Pasadena many years ago.
The Theosophical Society.
Right, which they don't even teach what they did, just like this school did.
Yeah, she founded it.
Well, no, I don't think she was not the founder. She speaks about the like she had a teacher like we had, like the founder of that, and she mentions him as, I guess she calls him the master, like how we say dad or the founder. In her writings, she mentions him, but she didn't found that school.
But she's co-founder.
Okay.
Yeah, she's co-founder with Olcott and William Kwan.
Well, whatever they teach now is not what she taught. If you look in her writings. And she would but yeah, I enjoy reading her stuff, and Florence Schofield Shinn. She was the one that wrote that book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. I have the book, but when I went to Ohio with Dr. Glenn Kinley that year, I went to a thrift store and I found an original by her.
They were already buried.
Mm-mm.
I just heard one.
Mm-mm. Everybody muted?
Oh, I had background noise.
Yeah, no, I was just looking her up and on my phone, and it was saying what she was from, what's they call it, Theosophical?
Yeah, Theosophical Society. Yeah,
Sophical Society.
these are the some of the people that were before the founder, that those people claim the founder culminated their knowledge to come out with the school.
Mm-hmm. Right. Interesting, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
Fine. What I have found in researching these people like Blavatsky and even Crowley and other folk is they end up having the same core principles of the gospel of being in you, you being one with the universe. But what you'll find is in every single one of those doctrines, there's a preservation of a self. Like, no matter how much they make it seem like you're getting rid of an old self, there's always this core preservation of an isolated identity for you, like who you are, compared to the all in all.
Yes. Compared to what? To what we are? Is that what you said?
Oh yeah, compared to what we know, where it's Yahweh and none else.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I got you.
With the true gospel, there's no preservation of a self. The being born again literally means to the true understanding that you are Yahweh Himself. There's not a you. At the end of the day, there's not a you, a beckoning to Yahweh. There's just Yahweh. That's it. You are and none else. There's none like me. There's none beside
none
me.
else, right?
None but me. There's only Yahweh.
Right.
What I'm saying, if you say that there were 12 in the world that knew, just like those 12 disciples, they didn't teach. They didn't all teach the exact same way, but they taught. You know what I'm saying? It's like some of us get up and preach the doctrine, and we're good with types and shadows and drawing out stuff. And I'm not a chart, too much of a chart person. I'm a principle person. I can draw out, and I mean just kind of lining up. I want to hit the cloud, the body, and then a script. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure I can cover all three areas to prove or go back to the origin, where we're all different. Just as those 12, you have what was it? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all of them. Well, they had families. What they taught is still being taught. It's synchronized. And the founder was that one for us. You know what I'm saying? That head one. But there are those out there that Yahweh dealt with. That's part of that tribe. Those tribes. And we all come from there.
And I'd say without Yahweh giving the founder the vision and revelation, no one would be able to see how the true gospel is incorporated in what they're teaching. How that's where it actually roots. Like that's where it actually came from over the years. It just got a little mixed up. I mean, the fact that anyone's staring anything like that is because Yahweh's allowing that conceptualization to even occur within the man. But the key that I guess I'm pointing out is, and there's no but because but your butt. The thing that I'm pointing out is that there's only one way, truth, and life. There isn't another way to come to the gospel. Though the gospel is incorporated in their messages, like that's the only thing. That's a substance. It actually has no life because there's only one way. There's only one truth. There's only one life. There's only one way to the Father, and that's through the Son. And there's only one Son that the Father has bestowed upon His glory, or one shape and form that He took upon Himself, explanation for Himself. So it's like and that's what I have found through it. I can definitely see how the core of it comes from where the apostles went out teaching, and that knowledge, that information kind of just got intermingled with some things, and people were just
well, that's what that look, everyone that Yahweh has dealt with, like He dealt with the founder coming down, what He taught in those bodies, it's been perverted. You know, and that's where He in you causes you to discern that. But you can still know who the true one is and what they taught. Yeah. I mean, if somebody can take your words, Jonathan, and pervert it, I know you. I know what you teach. So I know when they come at me with, Jonathan said this, I know and I'm able to say yay or nay. Mm-hmm. You know, and like you said, when you met us, anybody that knows me, Rita, Renard, and Gary too, we teach just like Dr. Glenn Kinley, just like he taught like his father. You know, that roots goes back. So if somebody comes to you and tells you something that I said, you'll know if it's true or not. That's how we know one another. You know?
You better believe. Yep.
And that's what I'm saying with those, because I asked when I first came to Pasadena, and I would sat under Dr. Glenn Kinley, and this was when we were like on Washington. I used to say, Yahweh, who were the angels that you dealt with before you made known yourself as the founder? And it wasn't until after they passed that I would get information, you know, and I started collecting different books, just like that Clarence Larkin who did all the charts, and it was said that the founder said he sold out, but that information was good. You know what I'm saying? But the man sold out. He went for the money, but I like I said, there are a few ones that I like, and it's because they teach how the man can empower himself to be able to hear and understand Yahweh. You know, to be still. You know what Yahweh said, be still and know. Well, if you don't know how to be still, how you going to know? We were fortunate. You know, right. We were fortunate, but and like you, Jonathan, had it. You know, you had your uncle, but some people don't even have that. But it doesn't stop Yahweh from dealing with them. But He said, does not nature teach you something? And by the man looking into nature, like the Indians, and how Yahweh dealt with them, with the signs, the eagle. I mean, where do they get the eagle, all-seeing eye? Because that's that same tribe. We all come from them 12. Those tribes coming down. That's how it began. Those sons. As they say, you want to say we all out of Africa.
Copy that.
Yahweh had them through their exile and through their own disobedience and scattering them among the nations. he literally put the blood of Abraham literally in every single nation.
I mean, and yeah, what do you think happened at the Noah's Ark? You know, the land was broken up then. So yeah, travel was necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh know how to preserve life. That's why I tell hey, them Indians that was here, they came from them tribes too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
It's funny too, because some of the oldest Native American artifacts found in this country are written have Hebrew script on them.
I mean, like you say, where you gonna get the new creation? Right out of the hole. What you looking for?
A funny one too is a couple of the prominent ones, like they have like the holiness unto Yahweh, what was written on the priest's meter. Well, they were found in Ohio. Funny enough.
Right. And you know, I'm looking back lately, a whole lot of things has been happening, coming out of recognizing from that Ohio state.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it?
I mean, you figure even the land of man, you have a lot of Jews and Irishmen in that was back in the day settled in those lands there.
No, funny enough, here's a funny one. Talking about coincidences in a way, or watching the show in a way. This young guy is coming out with these new Legos for kids, and then they're called Bible blocks. And his first set that he's producing is of the tabernacle. Where all the instructions, so you know in the Lego book it gives you the instructions for each step. Each step is of the Bible verse where Yahweh's telling Moses how to build the tabernacle, and he's got it where he built it exact 20 boards on each side, 10 boards in the front, the colors for the veil, like all of it, and I'm like, now this is interesting.
Wow.
A toy coming out to educate the youth about the tabernacle. Give them a foundation to know some stuff, Well,
look, I looked on a website. I've never saw so many when I was coming up, I couldn't find nothing that said Yahweh. Now I look on there, they have all kind of sweatshirts and wall art and everything.
On which site, Shell?
In that Temu site.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I ordered me the sweatshirt that said, "You breathe His name," right? And it has a painted lungs on it. And the lungs inside it has like flowers or something. They have different designs. And then I just ordered me a blanket that said Yahweh, and it has the whole scripture. This is my name throughout all generations. And I was thinking, now that's what I'm talking about. You know, don't come at me with he got many names. No, he might got many titles, but he only got the one name he gave you. You know, but I specifically wanted to give that to somebody.
Okay.
They make good gifts. You know, you can't never say I didn't tell you. You know, and you can even find they have the little what we call wet knock back in the day of the Ark of the Covenant, and then their skirts with the Lion tribe of Judah on it and all that, Star David. But yeah, I just think back, man, there was a time. I mean, that stuff was unheard of.
You're talking about the Star of David. I got a question. Is that Star of David linked to the satanic symbol. The satanic symbol is a pentagram.
That's what they tried to pervert. But see, the Star of David is two triangles. The one, if you take two triangles and turn one upside down, that's where you get your Star of David, because one is descent and one is ascent, and the one ascent is the Father, Word, the Holy Spirit, and then the one that's down is the three that bear record in the earth is the blood, the water, and the spirit.
Mm-hmm. No, and because in all this information about it, they try to say it's the Star of Remphan, and no, the Star of Remphan is still used in occultism, and that's that pentagram, like you said. Now, if you look at the shape of a pentagram, if you as a man stand up and spread your legs apart and stick your arms out, you make the shape of a normal star, how kids draw stars, two legs, two arms, and a point for a head. So you standing upright, you make a shining bright star. Now, if you point your head upside down, right, like you focus on the things below, right, you turn yourself upside down, if you notice, the pentagram star is a normal star upside down.
Right.
Yeah.
I worked Star David for almost 35 years. I worked Star David. I took it off. I think about maybe.
Well, no, I still wear my Star, David.
Yep, I got mine on.
I'll be putting mine back on too as soon as I get me another silver chain.
Yeah, no, I wear my Star, David, because you got to know what it means. Like I told people, no, this is the Father, the Word, the Holy Spirit, and the blood, water, and spirit. And then to see that middle is the same. It's Elohim, Yahweh, all the way. The Spirit bear record in heaven and earth.
Right.
That's why I say you can't. People can't fool me with that BS crap.
Thank you.
Cause look, and I'm mad because I had a Star David that somebody that ended up disappearing. At my mom's, but I'm like, man, I like angels and I like the Star of David, and two of my favorite pieces got away from me.
One of the tricks of information that they say is Israel never used a Star of David as its national symbol, and then they take that, which is a true statement, but they take that statement and then extrapolate as if that star never was a part of Israel, and that's not true. Now, Israel was the banner that they used was a 7-branch candlestick, which is funny because as you understand the meanings of that 7-branch candlestick and the 7 thunders and the 7 lights and the 7 days and the 7 seals and Yahweh's mystery of hiding himself from himself and revealing himself to himself, all being contained within that one symbol, and that being the symbol of his people, which to this day, is that not our symbol?
Yep.
But that star, I believe that's something where Solomon is like accounted for that, and because Solomon went and started worshiping them, his wives, false deities, they then attribute all that nonsense about Solomon controlling demons and all this stuff, which was some Muslim and some Arab information from like, what was it, like 2,400 years later after Solomon?
Well, I thought he just permitted them to do that, but I didn't understand him to be doing that.
Yeah, no, they say Solomon controlled demons to build the temple, which one, we understand that to be a damnable, stupid statement, which we understand what that temple is.
Well,
demons form the body of Yahweh.
And we find ourselves doing that. You think about that. You got all kind of so-called natural families that do, you have to suffer that crap with them. Yeah,
no, that's what he got punished. He bowed down and brought that idol of Ashura or whatnot into into the temple.
That's crazy. He was insane. He had lost, as the kids say, have you lost your mind?
Damn straight, Jim.
For a moment.
Given the wisdom of Yahweh, and that comes about.
But I mean, and then hey, well, you look at Samson too. We all have our role to play, where we show none of us is perfect.
That's one of the beauties of. Well, that's one of the accomplishments of the death, burial, resurrection of Yahshua Messiah, through that prepared sacrificial body of Emmanuel. That's one of the things that was accomplished. Is that will never happen with us. That's what the time of I was with the prophets. He dwelt with them for a time and then left in a way, or it was sealed back up within them. With us, it's not an in and out thing. Once you in, you ain't leaving. That ain't coming from you. That's why it says, for those who are in Yahweh, those who are born of Yahweh, it is impossible for them to sin. If you are in the truth, it is impossible for you to be going against your brother like that. And if you did slip up and make a mistake, you are quick on your heels to make amends.
Right.
Okay, question.
Go ahead.
So, I thought sin was done with after Yahshua died on the cross. There was no more sin.
Right.
Right.
So we're looking at the possibility of someone committing an offense. I think Paul said, Yahshua and Paul said, in some we do all offend. He didn't say in some we all do sin, but I know in 1 John it mentions that he who has sinned cannot see Yahweh. Well,
right.
Why are they mentioning sin?
Because if they still partake, because in 1 John, John is addressing Jews, and that's why he says, for if we say we have no sin, we make him a liar, because the Jews were definitely under sin, and if they were to say that, because they had been alive before the Messiah came, so they weren't just born after the death, burial, resurrection. He's talking to those who had been alive before the Messiah had come in, and who were alive while, before that accomplishment occurred. And if any of them would ever dare to say, because the gospel we're teaching right now, that there's no sin. This is why if you understand the gospel we're teaching, you'll understand these corrections that are being made, because you can see if we're teaching that there's no sin, that Yahweh's in everyone, that there's no bondage, no sin. You could see how some early Jewish believers or natural-born Hebrews who had been under the law, they might be going around saying, I have no sin. I've never had sin, because they have the ultimate understanding of knowing that they've always abided in Yahweh and that they're a new creature. But John's reminding them, if we say that with who we are in this time frame and what our role is to play, we would make him a liar, and we would say that what he did was for nothing.
I agree.
It's just like a figment.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's why he's when they're continuing on and approaching, if you sin, then you're not of Yahweh. That you tie in with anyone who lives under the law. To them, they have made sin for themselves, and with the law, if they kept trying to practice the law, they've placed themselves in sin. And if they do that, then they have no chance of seeing Yahweh, because Yahweh had already removed that, and they'd be looking to something else.
Exactly.
Because they, in that state, believed that Yahshua did not come and was not resurrected.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Right.
Yeah. You basically call him a liar. Say, you didn't die for sin. You didn't get on the cross. So, I got to keep practicing the law, which those 613 laws nobody could keep.
Right. And that was only added because they couldn't keep the first one. Love one another.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
that was how they ended up with all those.
Well, that's what's funny. The reason why you're seeing so much peril with the name Yahweh on it and things like that is because the Messianic Christians are having a huge boom. Like there's the majority of people converting to Christianity right now are either converting to Catholicism or they're becoming Messianics, where they believe that they need to take part in the Sabbath and things like that.
Right.
And that is why we're seeing a whole boom in that, because under that they gravitate and they see the truth and that the name's Yahweh and that there's not supposed to be another name used, but then they have a faulty doctrine because to them the thing that makes the most sense is, oh, well, he said his law's forever and we're supposed to do this and da-da-da. And so they do that. But just like we're saying, that's the biggest slap in the Messiah's face. Whether they realize it or not, that's the biggest denial of him, is to believe that you must continue and to continue those things that he came to do away with.
No,
Exactly.
Jonathan, how do they pronounce that when they spell Yahshua with the U first?
Well, they do it with
U-S-H-A. Now, what is that?
So the Yahuwah people is what it is. Those aren't Messianics. Those are the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah, it just irritated me that I would see
Yahuwah, yeah.
What the hell? Put the damn U where it goes. Salvation. Like, what is this? Yahuwah, Yahweh, you know what it is.
Shelly, I went through many nights of being cussed out, all this stuff, yelled at, screamed at with many different of these folks who protest that the name is Yahuwah. And finally one night with one guy as he's cussing me out and everything, I said, gosh darn it, I said, you go ahead and breathe the name Yahuwah and watch yourself have a heart attack. You got a breathing problem. I said, try to breathe with the name Yahuwah. You can't. I said, you can't even get an exhale in. You're going to suffocate. I said, Yahweh is the only name that brings you some fresh air. And that shut him up. But
yeah, I was looking, I was like, and it just really, but then I did find one. I ended up finding me a T-shirt that had it spelled correctly, Yahshua. Yeah, so I bought that one.
Well, and a big one is they do Yeshua because they try to, because in the modern Hebrew, for some reason, Shua means like a criminal thing or something like that. Like it's switched. Most people don't know that modern Hebrew doesn't fit the same as old. Like the Hebrew word for the Shekinah light, they use for electricity in modern Hebrew, but the old meaning for the word gives a more a meaning that means more something akin to the spirit.
But when they spell it Yeshua, it's just like them dang Jehovah's Witnesses putting the E before A, and that's the same principle.
Right.
Instead of saying Yahshua or Yahweh, then you putting Yeshua, that you doing the same thing that the Jehovah's Witnesses did. You trying to put the woman before the man. You know. So of course I'm not buying no Yeshuas. Because it's like the same soup warmed over. No, my father already told me what that was about, so I'm not gonna be foolish enough to do that one. But now that one where it has the name Yahweh and then it says the great I am, I'm like, okay, I can work with that because Yahweh is, therefore I am.
Yeah.
You know, so that one, you know, that's okay, because you know, hey, if you say I will be what I will to be, and hey, so I'm all of it, you know. Yeah, I was kind of thrilled because I don't mind, as they say, sporting my father's clothes. When I put on my outfit, I'm gonna I'm going to start David on. It's going to say, this is his name, breathe. Uh-oh. I'm going to be Yahweh down. You know, I can be bold now. That nobody cares when they come into you talking about God bless you and what is it? And then they're wearing all this shirt, the Lord this and God that. No, so I can now wear my own out. Now they making something I can wear. Yahweh is. Yeah. But,
Super. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. My iPad cut off. This is this will be the fourth iPad I've gotten in 7 months from Apple. They say the logic board is bad in it. It just shut off. I just got this replaced.
well, I had to find. I have an old laptop that I don't want to get rid of, but I gotta find somebody that can order me a new whatever to put inside it, because they don't even make laptops like this one no more. I can actually, this laptop, you can play a CD or play a movie in it,
right.
You know, and then it has like 4 or 5 different USB points in it.
Right.
It has all the connections, and they don't make them like, I mean, if they make them like that, they're not in the store where I can afford them. So I'm not getting rid of this one. I just want somebody to give me a whole new, like, what is it, board to put in it?
Yeah, motherboard.
Yeah, updated or whatever.
Is it a Windex? I'm sorry, Windex. I had that on my mind.
No, it's a Gateway. Gateway.
Okay, yeah, you get motherboard replaced or get it. Is it working? It just needs an external drive where you can put it in.
It actually works, and I didn't want to get rid of it too because I used to store all of my music. Like I could just buy a new CD and pop it in there, and it'll record it, all the music, and log it, you know, like that. So all my music is in there, and that's why I don't want to get rid of it either.
Okay, so you need to take your memory off the hard drive then.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, I apologize for that. It just cut off 3 times. I texted Jonathan, so I'm trying to reconnect. I'm gonna put that on my iPhone too. I'm gonna take this back to Apple and have them give me another one that they claim was new.
Oh wow.
I said I've been cut off.
Wow. Yeah. Look, we did all right today, and we didn't even have a scripture.
Oh, we didn't. That's where Yahweh works.
Yep.
It's not written in stone that you got to have like a regiment. When the Holy Spirit is talking, he's talking to himself.
We are the scriptures.
Yep. Like, hallelujah. Oh, well,
we are.
With that being said, now unto him who is able to keep you from falling, to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding delight, to the only wise Elohim, our Savior, Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belongs glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Let us all say, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I love you guys.
Yep, I love you too, Yahweh.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For showing up.
Yep.
Okay, chat with you later.
All right.